I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, it's not fixed. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of the Revo review.
All right,
here we
you guys,
go. Next song
is Twice, One Spark. And I am going to read to you what our DJ has to say. DJ Revo says, this is a girl group put together by JYP, Stray Kids Company. They were one of the top girl groups of the 3rd generation of K-pop. The company put them together with a reality show called 16 back in 2015. Later that same year, they debuted and quickly rose to being one of the biggest girl groups. Oh, this song is written Shim Inju Melanie Fontana. Babe, why don't you just do this? I feel like you're less disrespectful.
Shim Yoonji, Melanie Fontana, Kyler Nico, Aerotrak, Paulina Pal, Cyrilla, and Lee Uthyun.
It is the lead single from the Youth with Youth that came out this year. Some people are boycotting this company because JYP made a collaboration Coke advertisement song called Like Magic at a time when some fans are upset at Coke for their perceived support of Israel's war in Gaza. One of their groups, Day 6, after this protest, had a book with Tel Aviv in the background of a teaser image, which only reinforced this conspiracy theory. It is noteworthy that Twice, however, was the only current YJP group that didn't participate in the Coke advertisement. They did, however, get into some political controversy when the Taiwanese member had a Taiwanese flag in her bedroom. The company made her make an apology video rather than defend it on freedom of speech. While touring in the U.S., one of the members wore a shirt, a Sex Pistols shirt with a Nazi swastika on it, and the next day wore a Cannon shirt. Their fashion designer needs to do better research on the clothing.
QAnon
shirt. QAnon research on the clothing they pick. Their ages range from 25 to 28, and their fandom name is Once. And I understand that was just you're saying it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know anything about the topic, but I do think that Israel needs to cease fire and leave them alone and go back to the 67 borders. I don't think what they're doing in Gaza is good. I think it's horrible, and it needs to stop. So, just in case there is any sort of truth to that, that is my opinion on the matter.
All right, dear listener, here we go.
All right, you guys. Twice, One Spark.
Let's do it. Check it out. Vin and Sori.
One spark, baby. Everybody wants that endlessly. HG and an everlasting bliss. 영원한 걸 영원해. 그래 영원히 will sparkling beautifully. time of our lives, carve into our minds. 잠을지 않아, there ain't no sundown. I'm everlasting spark to I'm everlasting fire. Don't let this fire die, 'cause my heart is burning, burning, burning. So but that is hurting, hurting, hurting. And 눈부시게 아름답고 아프다 해도 이상할 거든. My heart is burning, burning, so burning. Let's be sparks, baby. Burning, burning, burning.
Yo!
That was a fun one.
Blandon said,
Will I ever get my manhood back?
am I ever going to get my manhood back after this stream?
This is a
Apparently that
metal
was just all a
reaction.
social construct, my boy.
We are a metal reaction channel, but we do whatever our DJs choose for us to do, and this is a K-pop birthday stream.
I do not give an F. I really
Well,
like
no,
that
I'm just
song.
letting people know
like
that we.
I like that song.
It's
That
not
shit-
all K-pop.
I liked it. You know, like I really like the song.
I actually don't know what the lyrics are. I was just vibing. I do know "Burning, Burning."
I like girl. I call it girlfriend music. I get certain kind of moods, man. It's like one of my favorite things when I'm in a certain kind of mood. Like Deftones.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I'm listening to Deftones, I'm in that girlfriend shit. Oh man.
What?
All right, here we go. So I actually like this song. I'm gonna get this one pretty high.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be the highest ranked song. Twice Once Spark.
And are you talking sonically or lyrically or what's?
Both.
Okay, I don't know what the lyrics are, so I'm very interested.
Well, the lyrics are right there, so you go for it. Do what you will with it.
One
dear listener.
spark, baby. Everybody wants that endless flame, an uncooling, everlasting blast, longing for something eternal, yeah, forever. We're sparkling beautifully. I'm sure it will be beautiful. Warming with your breath, continuously burning energy. If I lose my rhythm, then your beat goes on and on. Interesting. Bring me the spark in my veins. Give me the freedom to chase. You know it's all ours. Just like this, make this moment last. Because my heart is burning, burning, burning. So good that it's hurting. Hurting, yep.
Right.
Even if it's dazzling, beautiful, and painful, it's our golden days. Yeah, my heart is burning, burning, burning. Don't lose this spark, baby. Should we stop there or just keep
go
reading
for
it?
it.
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's definitely a relationship song. I like that it doesn't sound like it's perfect because she says, like, if I lose my rhythm, then your beat goes on and on. Like, and it also, that to me also communicates, like, there's a sort of, like, togetherness of the song, but it's not completely codependent.
Agree.
Because she's not saying if I lose my rhythm, then you'll lose yours.
Yeah, I'm listening to this feminist. Her name is Runaway Siren 940. You should. I'm gonna eventually get an interview with her. It's a smaller channel, but she's really on her shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. One of the reasons I'm so fascinated by her is how radical of a feminist she is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it's really like men are the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all need to. It's interesting because I actually reached out to Revo because she shot a video about, like, apparently like this 4B movement.
Yeah.
It's 4D or 4B. It's no marriage, no kids, no sex, and no relationships with men, period, or something like that. It's complete, like, separatist ideology at the gender level, which I really believe you could make a much better argument for separatism with gender than with race. But what were you thinking?
I'm me. So I can't, like, I understand, like, the idea or the concept of saying, like, you know, men are bad and, you know, we've endured, women, as a gender, we have endured a lot under the hands of men. If you just, like, you know, telescope it big, like, there's very few women that I know that haven't been assaulted by men. I've never even met a woman that said I was assaulted by a woman. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but, you know, it's just a lot. And when you hear, like, there was at one point we couldn't even have credit cards, we couldn't vote. It's just like, you know, and then, you know, some of the stuff that happens in Islamic countries. So there's oppression that women have been under. But at the end of the day, like, and maybe it's part of like my transition into I don't know, more like adulthood, I guess. Maybe I've had like more of an immature mindset for a lot of years, but like I really feel sad when I meet other women and I say like, do you have any kids? And they're like, no. And they, they don't want kids. So like separating from men, no kids, no, like to me, that's like, I don't think that your life is over if you don't get married or you don't have kids. Like, I do think that there is a world in which, but I don't think that that's for the majority of people. And like that sort of existence makes my heart so sad. Like my kids, when I go out in public and people are like, do you have enough kids? Like, I love it. Anytime you say anything about me and how many, like my mob of kids, like I love it. I am like, like when the peacock opens all her feathers, like that is me 100%. I love that I love having all of my kids and I love their individual personalities. I love it. I love seeing different stuff from them, the stuff that they say. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I love it. And I also love, I don't think that everything is easy. I don't think that it's always easy to be a mother. And I don't think that it's always easy to be a wife or to take care of a household. Like, I don't think that those things are always easy. But I do think that there's always beauty in it. And I love the feminist, like the feminine aspect of what I do on the day-to-day level. And again, it's going back to that masculine feminine energy thing. But so for me, like, I think that it's a really sad concept that it would get to that point that we would have to say, or that people would have to say, like, there's so little hope, like it's literally hopeless, like we should separate and just completely be done with men. And obviously, like, I'm married to you, so like I have met men that are bad. Like, I do know that if a man has a certain level of power over you, or you're in a relationship and you're set in a sort of system, and that system can even be a church system, that it can be really toxic and bad things can happen to you. I understand that 100%. But I also understand that there are people, like there are men that are not out to like dominate and have that complete, like, in, obviously you're a protector by nature. So, it's just the idea of just writing off all men.
I understand her perspective.
So do I.
Because she's looking at it from a critical standpoint. Critical theory is basically, how do these prejudices or whatever manifest themselves in the lives of the people that are being represented by those groups. So I don't think she's saying, I'm tired of men, blah, blah, blah. What she's saying is, men have built a system in which there is always going to be a power imbalance. And anytime we participate in perpetuating that system, we're operating against our own self-interest. That's the perspective. So just like, Farrakhan would say things like, separate or die. Why do you want to integrate with white people? Isn't our ice cream shop the better ice cream shop? My point is, it's not we're tired of white people. It's we need to create our own economy and culture so that we're no longer dependent on people that hate us.
Yeah, I understand that.
So but I'm just saying, from her point of view, that's how she's looking at it. It's not a guy hurt my feelings or whatever. She's looking at it as there's an entire psycho-political movement from men from the beginning in order to dominate women, etc., etc. And the only weaponology that women have to fight back against that is to basically exit that and create new economies, create new subcultures, etc., etc. And again, it's like I was telling you before, separatism, especially in the Farrakanian sense, doesn't mean you never talk to white people, doesn't even mean you don't like them or whatever. But what it means is, at the fundamental levels, whether it's a law enforcement, whether it's work, laws around that, housing, all those things, it's the mindset is it is better to have a black economy around all those things than to work with white people, because they're the people that are oppressing us. So she's taking that as an analogy at the gender level.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I think I get that. But I think what I'm saying is that, well, I do think that there's, I understand what she's saying. And that does make sense in like one part of my, even my own logic. But then isn't there also another answer where, yeah, okay, so there is a male-dominated society, and there are certain rules that you're going to have to follow in that society, and you may not like it, and I may not like it, but when you get married, it changes that system for you, because I'm no longer underneath the societal laws or rules for what it is for me as a woman, because there are certain things and there are certain, like, for me, that you end up, because you're there, that doesn't happen. So right. I have my own husband, and so it's really like, and the other thing too is, I am not going to sacrifice my future because of my gripes in the present. Like, when I look to the future and I say what's worth anything in my future, I don't care what physical things that I have, because we all know that physical things make people miserable if that's all that they have. So even if I have a nice house and a nice yard and all of that stuff, but I don't have family, like, you don't have people, like, people and love is the most important thing. And so I want a family. It makes me emotional because I love my family. So, like, I think that when I see women nowadays, I see them, like, just shooting their own selves in the foot, because they're creating, and I've talked to the other side. I used to work in a nursing home, and I would ask all those older people, what is it that you regret in life? And the two things got repeated over and over and over. Everybody said, I wish I had more kids. And the other thing that people would say is, I wish that the relationships that were broken, that I had repaired those sooner. It was wasted years, and I wish I never did that. But almost every single person says, and it didn't matter how many kids they had. If they had 5, they still wish they had more. If they had 1, everybody wished they had more kids. And I think that what happens is, when you get to that age, what do you have? Mm-hmm. You have your family, and that's it. Like, really, mm-hmm. You know, your meals are served to you, your shows are there. Like, they had all of those things. They were, like, physically taken care of, but these people were lonely, and, like, love is what you really want. So I'm like, everything that I do, like, it's, I mean, partially self-motivated, I guess you could say, because I know that I'm building a future for myself. Like, I'm building a home for myself in the future, because I have a bunch of children and a husband, and, like, we're a family. And so when I see these people, I'm like, your dog is not enough. So, you know, like, that's just how I feel about when they say they want to separate from men. I think that
the whole cat mom thing, I used to think that was a caricature that right-wingers had of left-wing women. But there are really, truly people who say that about their pets. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah. I'm a cat mom and all this. And it's usually, I've never heard a right-wing woman say that. Never heard a right-wing woman say that she's a cat lady. I only hear leftist women being cat ladies. So that, to me, is curious. That is a very curious phenomenon, because, I'm sorry, not cat lady, cat mom, because they chose that term.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have abandoned the cultural norm of getting married, having a child, and so becoming a mother from that aspect. You're saying that that's oppressive or whatever, or regressive. And so then when you get on your own and you're liberated state, the first thing you do is adopt a pet and then call it your child.
Yeah.
That tells me
there's something
that the stereotype and the social construct that men are more interested in things and women are more interested in people, that tells me that that's probably true. So I always say you can't outrun biology, and you cannot outrun how God set up the universe. And so I obviously don't necessarily agree with her, because I'm not a radical feminist. She considered herself a radical feminist. And Delaney's saying, we do call them crazy cat ladies. I mean, it's a fate worse than, I don't want to say it that way, but it's just very ironic. I've said this, like, our society is now being run by people with mental illness. And I think it's because of social media. And I mean, including me, we're up here 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and shit sometimes. Like, that's completely unhealthy. Now, I've got a certain kind of lifestyle because, you know, I work with YouTube, but I don't know. Go ahead. What's your take on that?
Well, Jet, nobody's saying there's anything wrong with having a cat. It's the concept that people, like, women will write off the idea of having children and having a family, but then they adopt a pet and become its mom. So it's like, okay, why are you doing that? Maybe there's something that's just a part of who you are.
Why are you
that's
calling
like,
it your child?
I want to have like something that's like a child. And the other thing too that I have also noticed when people end up with no family and an absorbent amount of cats is that they become very introverted and they become full of fear and mostly spend a lot of their time inside their house with just their cats. And the Bible says perfect love casts out fear, and fear has torment. And that's the thing with fear that I've realized is that it is never satisfied, and it's always going to take more and more and more of you until you're trapped in a little box. And it's just a box of, and the box is not real, but because you believe it's real to you. So, you know, there's also a verse that talks about like that. It actually calls the person the fool. The fool will say, I can't go outside because perhaps a lion will get me. Well, you can get to that point where you're so afraid of everything that you don't live anymore. And I think that kids force you out of that box because they are not going to live in a box because they're little and they're explorers and they're excited and they want to see the world. And so they're constantly pushing you and pushing you. I mean, like, I go do something outside and I don't necessarily always want to talk to people. Sometimes I'm like, I want to be left alone, bro. But my kids are with me and they're like, hi, hello, hi to everybody. Mm-hmm. And so then I can either like sit there and be friggin' miserable, or I can say hello too. And I'll be like, this is a little politician. He just loves talking to everybody. And then I'm somehow brought into this environment where I'm friendly with other people and they're friendly with me. And it's a nice time at the end of it. But I think that, again, where it says perfect love casts out fear, I think that God is a major, because God is love. So he's a major part of like dissipating the fear that would grip us and ruin our lives. But also when you have a kid, like I was talking to, you know, Vinny and I weren't always together. So he came into this relationship with a couple of kids and I came in with a kid. And, you know, sometimes they ask me questions that it takes me a minute to like think about what is this actually. And so I thought for a night and I came back to him with an answer. And I said, I think that the difference between a child that's in your womb and one that wasn't is that when they're in your womb, like there's this connection that you have with them and this love that you have, and then they come out and like there's some kind of love, that heart that was inside of you that's now outside of you and it's like roaming around in front of you. Where the other one, they're outside of you because they were never in your womb, but they make their way inside of you. And then all of a sudden they're in your heart and they're deep inside of you and you're like, where'd you come from? I didn't know that you were here so deep inside of me. So they're like both beautiful, whether it's adoption or it's, you know, like just loving some kids that are, you know, close by, or a mom that needs help, or you're, you know, in a way you're creating a family yourself. But like there is something really super special about kids and loving them purely. Like I think that our society has kind of like corrupted like so many things, and there's whole groups of people that groom kids and ruin things for kids. And I mean, obviously YouTube will block things if you just say kids. So like there's whole groups of people that are not out there to protect kids, but when you love and you protect kids, like I don't know. So I just think when I see these women and I'm like, right now is like the perfect time to like family build. Like you have your strength, you have your youth, you have your, you know, your excitement still can be for the whatever's going on around you and stuff, and like just building that family. Or finding somebody that you want to build a family with too. I think that that's super important. I think that sometimes like in America, we get on mindsets like, okay, how much money do they make? What do they look like? You know, all these like these different things. I don't think that those things are important anymore. I think that you need to find somebody that can work, because it has to be somebody that's gonna provide for your family and help you build. But does it have to be somebody that, you know, do you have to have everything? Or can you just find somebody that's going to build with you and you want to build with them, and then you guys create a little family? And if you have to add more water to the soup, my kids sometimes are like, what does that mean? That means you make the soup, and if you have more kids than the pot of soup, then you add more water to it so it feeds more of you. You know, like just coming up with different ideas to make stuff work for your family and then building that future for yourselves. I think we should all see the importance of that. But no, you can't throw off men and just be like, you know, I can do this all on my own, like my life would be significantly more difficult.
She's not saying she can do it on her own.
No, because she's saying she's not going to have kids.
Still need community.
But she threw off the idea of children and family. She has community.
What I'm saying, I just want to like represent her accurately. She's not saying you can do it on your own. In the same way that Farrakhan wasn't telling black people we could do it on our own. He said we could do it together. He's saying, Farrakhan was saying, we have enough numbers. We could do it together. And she's saying that. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, I don't agree with her. But I always try to think to myself, okay, if I was a secularist, if I didn't have a Christian worldview, I don't see how she could be. I don't see how she's wrong. You see what I'm saying? For me, when I look at relationships, the major problem is, why are we having them in the first place? I think that's one of the major benefits of having a understanding of reality that science does not cover the sum total of all objective reality. Okay, so one example would be, science is obviously based on the scientific method, and the scientific method are simply logical principles of non-contradiction, excluded middle, etc., etc. Okay, my point is, you cannot prove logic without first using logic. Right? So it becomes a self-referential kind of circle. So that is not something that we did not invent logic, we discovered it. But that is not something you can measure in a lab. As a matter of fact, when you use the term measure, you're again applying logical principles. When you combine it with math, which logic and math are essentially the same thing, because time and space are essentially the same thing, but that's a different discussion. So my point is, our ability to reason is the lifesaver, and it's also the death of us. And I just wanted to talk real quick about, because somebody talked about their, a friend's wife doesn't have any kids and she's a cat lady. Is that wrong? Well, of course not. I'm not even judging, quote unquote, the current crop of cat mamas. To me, the cat mama movement is indicative of some sort of deficiency in our culture. And I do not believe that you should ever blame the majority of the blame should go to the group with the majority of the influence. That's how I look at it. So, yeah, women gotta navigate certain things. I mean, obviously for her, I mean, she's literally repulsed by men in certain aspects. I mean, she used that terminology. And I do think that if American women got together and said, you know what, we're out of here, we're not doing this thing with y'all, I do think that they would be okay. For a while, and then I think dudes would just exert their physical force on them and do because women are not socialized to handle resistance the way that men are socialized. Either that trans dude that was like, if you, and this was a guy who obviously he had no respect for the process, he had no respect for trans people. Literally, he was a 45-year-old guy, 400 pounds or whatever, 5 o'clock shadow. I mean, just clearly masculine. And he said, listen, if you tried to stop me, I'd shoot you. That's what he said, basically. And I'm just, and then he's like, or you try to stop another trans woman in there, I'll shoot you.
So you're going in the women's bathroom.
And I was just like, here it is. Women are not socialized to threaten people that way. Okay? And that's why I'm calling you a dude. I don't give a fuck what you call yourself, bro. You out here threatening to kill folks. That is not the default position of women. And so I understand why her as a feminist would say we need to get away from these people, because this was not some far right hyper conservative who you would, okay, of course all those people are misogynistic. This was a guy on the left, hard left, obviously, doing the same thing. So her mentality is, if we're in a society full of right wingers, we have no rights, and if you're in a society full of left wingers, you have no rights as a woman. And that's how they feel. So, yeah, and the Planet Fitness thing. I'm going to do a Middle America on the Planet Fitness thing. Like, because Shorty hit me with it was insane, the video that I saw.
Wait, is that
like,
the other?
It was crazy.
Something different I haven't seen?
Yeah. There's multiple issues with Planet Fitness. Anyway, this has been the craziest review. Long story short, I believe that men and women are interdependent, that we need each other.
100%.
And even if you're a secularist, you can say, listen, nature evolved such that the only way for us to procreate, which is the name of the game in secularism, is that we have to have each other. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, literally, the planet won't continue. And so I think as Farrakhan, you could definitely make the argument at the racial level. I don't think you can make it at the gender level, because literally if we applied radical separatism relative to gender, that would literally be the end of the species. Yeah. So there's no way in my mind, that's one of the ways that I gauge whether or not an idea is workable, is if I take it to its logical end, or if I take it to its point of maturity, what does the world look like? Mm-hmm. And so if I take that mentality from the point of maturity, what does the world look like? What the world looks like is, I believe that women could organize, they could get all the money in the world, all the rest of it. But once you guys attained any really true independence, the dudes would just come in there and do the shit that you guys aren't capable of doing. And it's not because of your, your lack of value. It has to do with the role in society that God designed you for. The role of society of a woman is to literally, the fate of the world rests in the womb of a woman. It doesn't rest in the womb of a man. Mm-hmm. And so, that's why God made us heavier and stronger and all the rest of it. It's like, you get in the way. They're the star. You just get in the way and make sure, she can go on and propagate the species. So, like, even from a secular perspective, men and women are nature has determined that the only way that Homo sapiens are going to progenate is through male-female relationships at some level. It's impossible otherwise.
There was a couple points during the song that you seemed to react to the lyrics. What parts were those?
Well, I mean, it was the entire aspect of, like, I'm listening to what this girl is saying. I'm thinking about Runaway Siren. I'm also thinking about the concept of romanticism, because that's what she's ultimately asking for. She wants the spark and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. The discussion that we had goes into that, because even the things that you consider a spark have some sort of political origin in it. People don't want to hear that, but it's just true. So, shout out to John Isabella. I haven't seen you in a minute, my boy. Yeah. So I don't. There are a couple other things. I'm very, I don't know if fascinated is a term. I'm very, very interested, concerned, disturbed with the way that men and women are interacting on the internet right now. There's a lot of real, it looks like we hate each other.
Yeah.
The manosphere, the way they talk about women, it's like they hate. I'm like, yo, these dudes genuinely, you didn't even ask that question, like, who hurt you, dude? Like,
yeah.
Like, believe me, I've had, from the earliest parts of my life, women have harmed me. But God, like, there's a real antipathy. People really hate each other. And it's like being like 5 and 6 all over again. You know, when you're 5 and 6 and you come to the awareness that boys are cool, girls drool, and vice versa. Like, it's like collectively the Western world has regressed to that kind of mentality.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
like, I'm on a number of, like, women's sort of empowerment.
Later, Delaney. Love you.
A lot of them, like, it's very rare that you see any, like, positivity about men. And like, you'll see, all you single ladies out there, like, how is it really? And then it's like, oh, F them, this and that. Like, it's, you see it just all these negative. You might catch one or two of them that say it's kind of lonely, but that's pretty rare. Like, most of the times it's basically like F men, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree. I think, yeah.
9.6 for me. This is my favorite song of the night so far.
9.4.
That was a long one. Shout out to Revo. There's a timestamp, 2:33:05.
That was twice one spark. All right, you guys, we'll be right back.
2:33:05 was when we ended the review.
Yeah, I don't do it when we end. I do it when we start the next one.
Gotcha. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.